Amethyst is a violet variety of quartz often used in jewelry. The name comes from the ancient Greek and mu epsilon theta epsilon sigma tau omicron sigma methystos, a reference to the belief that the stone protected its owner from drunkenness. The ancient Greeks wore amethyst and made drinking vessels decorated with it in the belief that it would prevent intoxication. It is one of several forms of quartz. Amethyst is a semi-precious stone and is the traditional birthstone for February. Structure: amethyst is a purple variety of quartz and owes its violet color to irradiation, iron impurities, and the presence of trace elements, which result in complex crystal lattice substitutions. The hardness of the mineral is the same as quartz, thus it is suitable for use in jewelry. Hue and tone: amethyst occurs in primary hues from a light pinkish violet to a deep purple. Amethyst may exhibit one or both secondary hues, red and blue. The best varieties of amethyst can be found in Siberia, Sri Lanka, Brazil and the Far East. The ideal grade is called Deep Siberian, and has a primary purple hue of around 75 to 80%, with 15 to 20% blue and red secondary hues. Green quartz is sometimes incorrectly called green amethyst, which is a misnomer and not an appropriate name for the material, the proper terminology being prasiolite. Other names for green quartz are vermarine or lime citrine. A very variable intensity, the color of amethyst is often laid out in stripes parallel to the final faces of the crystal. One aspect in the art of lapidary involves correctly cutting the stone to place the color in a way that makes the tone of the finished gem homogeneous. Often, the fact that sometimes only a thin surface layer of violet color is present in the stone or that the color is not homogeneous makes for a difficult cutting. The color of amethyst has been demonstrated to result from substitution by irradiation of trivalent iron for silicon in the structure, in the presence of trace elements of large ionic radius, and, to a certain extent, the amethyst color can naturally result from displacement of transition elements even if the iron concentration is low. Natural amethyst is dichroic in reddish-violet and bluish-violet, but when heated, turns yellow-orange, yellow-brown, or dark brownish and may resemble citrine, but loses its dichroism, unlike genuine citrine. When partially heated, amethyst can result in ametrine. Amethyst can fade in tone if overexposed to light sources and can be artificially darkened with adequate irradiation. History: amethyst was used as a gemstone by the ancient Egyptians and was largely employed in antiquity for intaglio engraved gems. The Greeks believed amethyst gems could prevent intoxication, while medieval European soldiers wore amethyst amulets as protection in battle in the belief that amethysts heal people and keep them cool-headed. Beads of amethyst were found in Anglo-Saxon graves in England. Western Christian bishops wear an episcopal ring often set with an amethyst. An allusion to the description of the apostles is not drunk at Pentecost in Acts chapter 2 verse 15. A large geode, or amethyst grotto, from near Santa Cruz in southern Brazil was presented at the 1902 exhibition in Düsseldorf, Germany. In the 19th century, the color of amethyst was attributed to the presence of manganese. However, since it can be greatly altered and even discharged by heat, the color was believed by some authorities to be from an organic source. Ferric thiocyanate has been suggested, and sulfur was said to have been detected in the mineral. Synthetic amethyst. Synthetic amethyst is produced by gamma-ray, X-ray or electron beam irradiation of clear quartz which has been first doped with ferric impurities. On exposure to heat, the irradiation effects can be partially cancelled and amethyst generally becomes yellow or even green, and much of the citrine, cairngorm, or yellow quartz jewelry is said to be merely burnt amethyst. Synthetic amethyst is made to imitate the best quality amethyst. Its chemical and physical properties are so similar to that of natural amethyst that it cannot be differentiated with absolute certainty without advanced gemological testing. There is one test based on Brazil law twinning, which can be used to identify synthetic amethyst rather easily. It is possible to synthesize twinned amethyst, but this type is not available in large quantities in the market. Cultural history. Ancient Greece. The Greek word amethystos may be translated as not drunken, from Greek not plus methystos, intoxicated. Amethyst was considered to be a strong antidote against drunkenness, which is why wine goblets were often carved from it. In his poem, L'Amethyste, ou les amours de Bacchus et d'Amethyste, the French poet Rémy Belleau invented a myth in which Bacchus, the god of intoxication, of wine and grapes, was pursuing a maiden named Amethysta, who refused his affections. Amethysta prayed to the gods to remain chaste, a prayer which the chaste goddess Diana answered, transforming her into a white stone. Humbled by Amethyst's desire to remain chaste, Bacchus poured wine over the stone as an offering, dyeing the crystals purple. Variations of the story include that Dionysus had been insulted by a mortal and swore to slay the next mortal who crossed his path, creating fierce tigers to carry out his wrath. The mortal turned out to be a beautiful young woman, Amethystos, who was on her way to pay tribute to Artemis. Her life was spared by Artemis, who transformed the maiden into a statue of pure crystalline quartz to protect her from the brutal claws. Dionysus wept tears of wine in remorse for his action at the sight of the beautiful statue. The god's tears then stained the quartz purple. This myth and its variations are not found in classical sources, although the Titan reared as present Dionysus with an amethyst stone to preserve the wine drinker's sanity in historical text. Other cultural associations. Tibetans consider amethyst sacred to the Buddha and make prayer beads from it. Amethyst is considered the birthstone of February. In the Middle Ages, it was considered a symbol of royalty, and used to decorate English regalia. In the Old World, amethyst was considered one of the cardinal gems, in that it was one of the 5 gemstones considered precious above all others, until large deposits were found in Brazil. Geographic distribution. Amethyst is produced in abundance from the state of Minas Gerais in Brazil, where it occurs in large geodes within volcanic rocks. Many of the hollow agates of southwestern Brazil and Uruguay contain a crop of amethyst crystals in the interior. Artigas, Uruguay and neighboring Brazilian state Rio Grande do Sul are large world producers exceeding in quantity Minas Gerais, as well as Mato Grosso, Espírito Santo, Bahia, and Ceará states, all amethyst producers of importance in Brazil. It is also found and mined in South Korea. The largest open-cast amethyst vein in the world is in Mysore, Lower Austria. Much fine amethyst comes from Russia, especially from near Mursinka in the Ekaterinburg district, where it occurs in Druce cavities in granitic rocks. Many localities in South India yield amethyst. One of the largest global amethyst producers is Zambia in southern Africa, with an annual production of about 1,000 tons. Amethyst occurs at many localities in the United States. Among these may be mentioned the Mazatzal mountain region in Gila and Maricopa counties, Arizona, Red Feather Lakes, near F.T. Collins, Colorado, Amethyst Mountain, Texas, Yellowstone National Park, Delaware County, Pennsylvania, Hayward County, North Carolina, Deer Hill and Stowe, Maine, and in the Lake Superior region of Minnesota, Wisconsin and Michigan. Amethyst is relatively common in the Canadian provinces of Ontario and Nova Scotia. The largest amethyst mine in North America is located in Thunder Bay, Ontario. Amethyst is the official state gemstone of South Carolina. Several South Carolina amethysts are on display at the Smithsonian Museum of Natural History. Value. Up until the 18th century, amethyst was included in the cardinal, or most valuable, gemstones. However, since the discovery of extensive deposits in locations such as Brazil, it has lost most of its value. Collectors look for depth of color, possibly with red flashes if cut conventionally. As amethyst is readily available in large structures, the value of the gem is not primarily defined by carat weight. This is different to most gemstones where the carat weight exponentially increases the value of the stone. The biggest factor in the value of amethyst is the color displayed. The highest grade amethyst is exceptionally rare and therefore, when one is found, its value is dependent on the demand of collectors. It is, however, still orders of magnitude lower than the highest grade sapphires or rubies.